Grand Prix afternoon here. And of course, delighted to welcome our title sponsors this year, Dodson Horrell. But it's given us the opportunity to first and foremost catch up with the man stood beside me, Richard Davidson, of course, renowned in the world of dressage, but also with great connections to the jumping world as well with your sons. But Richard, I think you've just hot-footed it quite literally from saddle to car to Bolesworth, from a winning ride down at Hartbury.
Yes, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Gareth, you're quite right. I am very pleased to say we had a win last night at Hartbury, where there's a international competition, great competition. But of course, I couldn't miss Bolesworth. So yeah, I've come direct from there, and it's great to be here.
To be fair, we were missing you until you arrived, because in the past, of course, okay, things have changed a little bit this year. Dressage has always been a big part of the show as well. So to you in the past, it's brought everything together. But show jumping is a big part of your life as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, basically, you know, I like all equestrian sports, and I'm very lucky that I have a stable of show jumpers and dressage horses, and you know, really enjoy having both of those and being part of both of the scene of jumping and dressage.
That must create quite a lot of horses to look after at home.
Yeah, it does, and we keep them. You know, we often get asked, do we have the horses in different stable blocks, and we don't. We keep them all in the same. We don't divide them up according to what they're doing. You know, we don't treat them any differently. We manage them the same. You know, a lot of the training between the dressage horses and the jumpers is exactly the same. Or the bulk of it is anyway. And yeah, so all of the management and the training is the same.
One of the things I've always been curious about, and actually because of the Dodson Horrell connection, I don't know if I can ask you this question, is obviously the feeding elements of show jumpers and dressage horses. They're sport horses, but how does that differentiate? Obviously, you've got them all together. Are they all eating the same food, or is each horse got its own particular needs?
Well, first of all, there's no difference between whether we're feeding a horse that's going to do dressage or a horse that's going to show jump. So there is no difference in that respect, and obviously biologically and physiologically there is no difference. What the difference is what their energy needs are and what their output of energy and intensity, and so that's where we feed them very much individually, because you know some need high levels of energy for more intense. For example, you're going to see a lot of jumping efforts here today, but that's probably the equivalent of like the Grand Prix horses that I was riding at Hartbury, whereas the novice horses have a different requirement. And you know, we've always been lucky that we can use the expert nutrition advice from the nutritionists at Dodson Horrell, and when we do make use of that.
I want to ask you about that because I keep trying to persuade everybody to go up to the stand because they have a team of experts. Can you express how important it is to understand what you're feeding your horses and for what reason, and why you need to get that advice? And you can go and speak to Dr. Horrell about that.
Well, you know, I've been in this game a long time,
no.
And yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but looking at me, but I have no hesitation because you know science is evolving all the time, and what I want to do, and what everybody wants to do, is feed their horse the most efficiently. Not just cost effectively, but actually to achieve what you want your horse to do. And obviously we know optimal feeding can really help the horse perform, and you know, get the temperament right, along with other things as well, of course. But that's why I you know really do use these nutritionists and get their advice. And you know, even if you've been in long as me, you need that specialist knowledge, and this is great because you know I don't have to pay for it. It's all there, and they you know give it to me free. And fun enough, I have already been up there to talk about a horse that I'm having. You know, I just want to try to get the feeding right with.
And I was going to say it's an ongoing conversation as things evolve in the training, in the activity. It's not something that just stays the same all the way through.
Absolutely not. It's changing all the time, basically.
So, just thinking a little bit ahead to this afternoon, spectator, interest in the class as well. How excited are you to be here watching world ranking competition, the Dodson Horrell Grand Prix?
Well, obviously, from many interest points, I'm very excited, and of course, it's an amazing setting, isn't it? I think that's why we've all come here, and we're really looking forward to some great sport.